Now.
On 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It is 6:07 on this Groundhog Day, the second day of February. Thanks for joining us here on O'Connor and Company as we are flying along at hyper speed, getting you into the weekend the best way possible. 6:35, we'll speak with General John Teichert. He's running for the Senate in the state of Maryland, for the state of Maryland, I should say, for the U.S. Senate. 7:05, Reagan Reese, White House correspondent at the Daily Caller. And at 8:05, Steve Malloy, founder of Junk Science. Junk Science, of course, related specifically to the climate change hoax. We'll talk to him about the new John Podesta climate czar story.
Oh, yes.
Larry O'Connor alongside Patrice Onwuka.
Happy Friday, everybody.
It is a happy Friday. Amen to that. Hang on. We are doing a little, it's Groundhog Day, so you got to. All right. You don't hear the bridge very often. All right, thank you, Michael.
Don't drive angry. Don't drive angry.
A little Bill Murray Groundhog Day for you. All right, anyway, yesterday, House Oversight Committee made a stunning announcement. They did some testimony there. And again, I just want to say, everyone, and I get it, everyone's like, oh, enough with the hearings, enough with the hearings. Oh, no, congressional hearings. Nothing will come of congressional hearings. I'm putting faith in the process here with the Republican majority. The Oversight Committee seems to be doing a meticulous job building the case against Hunter Biden and Joe Biden and the entire Biden crime family. I recognize your frustration. I share it. But at the same time, every day we get new revelations that better be building towards something. Here's the latest. They spoke with a disbarred attorney who was already in jail for bribery. And he testified that he gave James Biden, the brother of Joe Biden, the uncle of Hunter Biden, $800,000 in loans, and he only got half of it back.
Oh.
James Biden, by the way, has already agreed to appear on February 21st to testify before the Oversight Committee. Looking forward to that. How many times is he going to, plead the fifth and not actually give any information? Here's how the New York Post is describing this.
Okay.
Joey Langston said in a closed-door deposition that he doesn't have any documentation or records of the loan. How many times, a whole bunch of times you see Joe Biden receiving checks from his brother, right? We've seen this paper trail. Check for $40,000 from James Biden to Joe Biden. I think there's one, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. There's a check for $200,000 out of James Biden's personal account or James's wife's personal account. That would be Joe Biden's sister-in-law. $200,000, and in the memo field on this check, who does this? Who writes a personal check and just puts in the memo field loan repayment, right?
Yeah,
loan
people
repayment.
Do it, but okay.
Maybe. There's no documentation that I'm aware of the original loan. Usually if you're loaning somebody $200,000,
a promissory note,
you've got at the very least an email. Yeah, exactly. Something. All right, Jimmy, I'll give you $200,000, but here we're just going to write one sentence. I loan you $200,000. You will repay it by X and X date or whatever.
Exactly.
That's standard operating procedure. I have borrowed money from my parents in the past, and I did that with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Text message works too.
Text about anything.
Anything.
We don't have any documentation of this loan. Why is that important? Because if Joe Biden got $200,000 and didn't claim it as income on his tax returns and claims that it was a loan repayment, but there's no documentation to back up that loan repayment, let me just say you better not try that with your income and your taxes because it ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
So here now we've got another loan. There's no documentation, according to Joey Langston, saying that nope, no records on the loan. Langston said he made 4 loans to James in 2016. 2016, by the way, Joe Biden was still the vice president of the United States.
That's right, yeah.
Langston was unsuccessfully trying to overturn his bribery conviction in court on 2016. So he's convicted. He's trying to appeal it. He's trying to get it overturned. And while he's trying to get it overturned, he loans James Biden, the brother of the vice president, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Hoping that would grease the wheels.
It's unclear if he was seeking a federal pardon from then President Barack Obama during Obama's final year in office. Yeah, it's unclear, but connect the dots, guys. The massive financial aid from Langston to then second brother introduces a new element of intrigue into the impeachment inquiry. Langston pleaded guilty in 2008 and was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison for being part of a plot to bribe a judge in an asbestos legal fee. So this is a guy who has been convicted for bribing an official to get out of trouble.
Yes.
And while he's looking to get a pardon or to get his conviction overturned, he's giving hundreds of thousands of dollars to the brother of the vice president.
Oh, man.
During the final year of the president's term in office.
If it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, I mean, it's hard to see it as otherwise. But this smells really bad. And when you consider now here...
Smells like a duck.
Well, look at this guy here. He was a big fundraiser for Joe Biden, apparently, according to ProPublica, who actually reported on this, that he flew to Washington. He flew Joe Biden to a fundraiser on his private plane before. So he is a close associate with the Bidens, raising money for the Bidens, scratching the Bidens' backs so that they would scratch his.
He also, by the way, in 2007, the FBI wiretapped James Biden in an investigation on this. This is while his brother was still a senator, before he was vice president, as part of an investigation into a bribery case with Dickie Scruggs. So think about this for a minute. James Biden knows this guy, Dickie Scruggs. Yeah. Dickie Scruggs is convicted of bribery. Yep. Now the FBI is investigating him a second time for bribery. The FBI wiretaps James Biden in 2007 about this bribery charge. Yep. He's convicted again for bribery. And then 8 years later, James Biden accepts $800,000 in loans from the guy who has been twice convicted for bribery, and you've already been wiretapped in an investigation into one of these cases. You would think you would distance yourself from this guy. Well, you would think you would not pick up the phone when he calls, let alone accept $800,000 from him.
Well, except unless this is your associate. This is someone who you regularly do business with, and that is not a small sum of money. Let's just say that for the how many years that there doesn't seem to be much going on between them. Obviously, we have a collegial relationship. Yeah. If we weren't talking for 6 years, and then I popped up and said, "Larry, can I borrow $20,000 from you?" Like, are you
may
really
raise a red flag.
Thank you.
But it's not like that. Not only did he not distance himself. Think about this. This guy, Scruggs. His name is
what a
Scruggs.
Great name. And by the way, this is a new season of The Wire.
There needs to be a character named Scruggs, right, in The Wire. Totally. And there's some drugs involved, too, with Hunter. Scruggs, after the bribery convictions, was in talks with James Biden, the brother of the President of the United States, and Hunter Biden. They were talking about setting up a law firm together.
Oh, goodness.
Hey, Hunter, we're going to set up a law firm, and I'm going to bring in Scruggs. You know, the guy who's been convicted of bribery twice. One other part of this story that you need to know, because I keep saying he got $800,000 in loans, $800,000 in loans, $800,000 in loans. Well, according to the testimony yesterday, James Biden has only paid back $400,000 of that. So it's actually not $800,000 in loans.
No, it's not.
It's $400,000 in loans and $400,000 that
is a gift.
I guess it's a gift of sorts.
If it's not a loan, it's a gift.
Or maybe a bribe.
But
because guess what? Joe Biden, the president of the United States, right now could pardon all of these people. He has the power to do it. So I wonder what's happening with that $400,000.
So is this the transparency? Is this the morality that we were expecting with the Biden
it's the most ethical
administration?
White House we've ever seen. Yeah. It's 6:15.
WMAL, making sense of party politics, because somebody's got to hold their feet to the fire. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
And while we're talking about corruption here in Washington, D.C., especially that centered around the Biden crime family, there's also a curious story having to do with the special prosecutor Jack Smith's investigation into Donald Trump's activities on January 6th and his alleged connection to the incident at the Capitol that day. Late last night, or late yesterday afternoon, to be most specific, the case against Donald Trump, which was scheduled to start next month, has now been removed from the public calendar for the D.C. courts. It's not on the docket anymore. A very strange. Judge Tanya Chutkan, overseeing the case where Trump has pleaded not guilty, of course, to 4 charges, originally set the start of the trial for March 4th. But it has long been suspected, this is according to the write-up in Newsweek, long been suspected that the start of the proceedings would be pushed back as the case is on hold while the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit decides whether Trump should be immune from prosecution because the charges relate to his time in office.
Yeah.
That's a very important appeal that will have huge ramifications and precedent for the office of the president. Precedent for the president. The arguments were heard on January 9th about whether the former president can cite absolute immunity to dismiss the case, but the court was still planning on moving forward, barring any decision there. It's unclear whether the 3-judge panel at the appeals court has made their decision or will make their decision in time for the start of the trial. But now, according to the Washington Post, yesterday afternoon, the March 4th trial date for this case has been wiped from the calendar. It's an administrative move, but it's a sign that the trial is going to be delayed pending this process. Could very well be delayed until after the election.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Now, remember, the special prosecutor here, Jack Smith, he has wanted to expedite this case as quickly as possible. He has tried to move it as quickly as possible, for this reason, because he knows that the faster this gets adjudicated, the worse it might be for President Trump. And he's being...
That's what he wants.
That's what he wants.
Yeah.
So... it's interesting that this case may continue to drag out much longer, even after the election results, which is good for President Trump to be able to point to. I mean, it's definitely part of his support.
I love Politico's headline, by the way. As judges mull presidential immunity, Trump reaps the benefits of delay. And the picture shows Trump with like a smug look on his face. Trump reaps the benefits of delay. Whatever happened to innocent until proven guilty in this country?
No, not if you're a Republican.
No.
Unfortunately.
If an appeals court is deciding whether the charges are legitimate or not, you're merely reaping the benefit of delay. These people are so odious. There's another aspect of this story that's very interesting, too. Republican Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, just a day ago, asked for and sent a request to this special prosecutor asking for a lot of, because this person's unaccountable.
Yeah.
He has not delivered any information to Congress. He still works within the Department of Justice, doesn't he? And she asked that she wanted information regarding the investigation. This was signed by several congresswomen and said, we want this information. Who have you talked to? What's the timeline on this? What are you doing? Is it disrupting the election? All this stuff. And within 15 hours of her sending that letter and demanding that information, the thing disappears from the public docket. It's a fascinating development.
I mean, it seems a little bit less than coincidental.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, listen, we'll see where this develops. It appears to me, I don't want to speculate, but it certainly appears to me that there was no way they were going to get a decision from the appeals court in time for the trial to begin. And the judge has done the right thing, which is, listen, this is a question as to whether these charges can go forward or not. So there's no reason in hell that we should go and impanel a jury and begin this entire process if the actual charges are still in question. And I can't imagine them. If the appeals court says, oh, yes, absolutely, you can go forward, well, then you've got a Supreme Court appeal.
That's right.
There's no possible way this is going to happen before the election.
So, listen, at least this judge did the right thing, Judge Chutkan.
Chutkan has had horrible decisions this entire time. So,
this one.
Broken clock. Yeah. 6:22. Well, people are freaking out over a very grainy sonar image. You've had babies before. When you do the ultrasound, and the people are like, look, there's the arm, and there's the leg. And and I'm looking at it, it's like,
I don't see anything.
This is a polar bear in a snowstorm. I have no idea, right?
Yeah.
It's sort of like that. This is a very grainy ultrasound sonar image in the Pacific that purports to show a plane that has crashed right around where Amelia Earhart's plane would have crashed. Yeah.
Wow.
This is apparently a private pilot recorded this. And it is obviously gotten everyone excited that they think that they found the plane that she disappeared in 1937, of course, on one of her flights. A whole lot of expeditions have looked for this plane, turned up nothing. Tony Romeo is from South Carolina. He has a sea exploration company, and he captured an outline of what looks like, they're saying, a Lockheed 10E Electra. They're looking at the outline of it. They're looking at the tail assembly, and they said, well, that's it. That's the plane.
This is remarkable.
Yeah. It's, by the way, 16,000 feet under the water. So
that's going to be deep.
James Cameron will find it. He'll go down there and make a movie out of it.
Please don't make another movie.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. So interestingly, I saw this gentleman, the pilot, Mr. Romeo, Tony Romeo, in an interview. He has been fascinated with Amelia Earhart since he was a little boy. And he has devoted his career pretty much to studying her and wanting to learn more about her, and now potentially finding the remains of her airplane.
Yeah, this guy's he owned a bunch of real estate. He sold it all.
Yeah.
To fund this search and to buy a $9 million underwater drone from a Norwegian company. And that's what he used to find what he believed. And you look at the little grainy image, and it does look like a plane.
It could be a plane. Whether it's Amelia Earhart's plane, that's the other question.
Yeah. And listen, a lot of skeptics, and it's like, listen, there's a lot of plane wrecks out there. It's in the South Pacific. It could be anything. But and the Navy searched, of course, immediately. There's always been speculation about this. It's X-Files stuff, right?
Yeah.
She was flying from New Guinea to Howland Island as part of her attempt to become the first female pilot to circumnavigate the globe.
Yes.
She got lost because, women drivers, right? And that, I'm kidding. Oh, wow. That did
I'm rolling my eyes,
not
Larry.
Get the reaction I was expecting.
Rolling my eyes here,
from
Larry.
Patrice. All right. Well, anyway, we'll see. I don't know how they can verify this or not.
They'd have to extract it.
Right. By the way, the last time there was a big
forensic
expedition
evidence.
to find it, it was encouraged by then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, who wanted to find that plane and use it as her Air Force One when she was president. And, well, that never happened either. It's 6:30.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station.
Making sense of the news.
News Talk 105.9.
News now.
On 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
6:36. It's O'Connor and Company this Friday morning. Thanks for joining us here on a busy, busy one. And happy Groundhog Day to you. It's the second day of February. You know what that means. I have no idea what it means. Are you?
Patrice? I'm channeling my inner 70s.
Yeah, Patrice Onwuka is doing a very intoxicating disco dance here.
It is the disco.
It is. I'll be your
little MJ disco.
I'll be your
magic.
John Travolta if you need. It's 7:05. Reagan Reese will join us, White House correspondent for the Daily Caller. At 8:05, Steve Malloy, founder of Junk Science, about John Podesta, your new climate czar. I am Larry O'Connor. That's the dancing queen.
Patrice Onwuka.
That's correct.
Happy Friday.
And joining us right now is retired Air Force General John Teichert. He is running for the Republican nomination for the U.S. Senate in Maryland. General, thanks for joining us.
Larry and Patrice, good morning. Happy Groundhog Day, and thanks for having me.
I can't think of a better news cycle for us to be able to talk to you and get your expertise as we see a real, in my opinion, chaos right now in the Middle East. We have the death of 3 American soldiers this weekend. That comes after 2 SEALs died in an exercise, all having to do with Iran, Iran's funding of terrorists, Iran's coordination with terrorists, and arming of terrorists. And we still don't have anything from the White House. When you served, sir, and we had, over 160 strikes against U.S. interests, resulting now in tons of injuries and now these 3 deaths. Did you wait this long before you had any kind of legitimate response? I would think when you hit us, you get hit back in the nose pretty hard.
Larry, you're spot on that we keep appeasing Iran because we're scared that this entire situation is going to escalate, when the reality is that it's been escalating for the last 4 months, not because of American strength, but because of American weakness.
Yeah.
And the more we show weakness, the more Iran is going to continue to strike at American positions throughout the Middle East and beyond.
It's so crazy to see, and the fact that we have Lloyd Austin pretty cavalier really yesterday saying, oh, it's not a big deal. I'm just kind of a quiet guy. I wasn't, I didn't tell the president. I didn't tell those who were around why I was incapacitated and it's not a big deal. We're just going to move on from that. General, do you see what should have been his punishment? Should he still be punished for what he did?
Patrice, when I commanded Joint Base Andrews or commanded Edwards Air Force Base, if I had a subordinate commander that just left their position and didn't tell me and then just disappeared, they would be fired immediately. I go back to this idea that this administration talked about being the adults in the room when they took control in January of 2021, and it's been just the opposite of that. And it's been an amateur show that has damaged our credibility internationally and failed to solve problems within America that Americans really care about.
John Teichert graduated from MIT and Stanford. Don't hold that against him, though. He also served in the United States Air Force, reached the rank of brigadier general. Now he wants to continue his service as a U.S. Senator from Maryland. Right now, the Senate is negotiating or discussing, I don't know exactly what they're planning on doing, but they're calling it a border security bill. And I don't know, on the face of it, have you studied it? Was this something that you would get behind? It sure appears to be something that doesn't really secure the border.
Larry, it doesn't seem to do much of anything. It may be a good first step, but we have this multifaceted crisis that's going on at the border under the Biden administration. That's a humanitarian crisis, a public safety crisis, a public health crisis, and a national security crisis. And we need real change and comprehensive reform that starts with securing the border. And until we do that, then we're just fostering this multifaceted crisis that has been an embarrassment to Americans and have harmed Americans in Maryland and around the country.
So, General Teichert, you are running in the Republican primary coming up on May 14th, and let's given that you win. If you win, you'll be up against two potentially interesting candidates. You've got on the right now frankly, PG County leader Angela Olselbrooks, who I will not say more than just her name, and Representative David Trone, who wants to make a jump from the House to the Senate.
Yeah, no matter how much it cost him out of his personal wealth.
He is literally buying the Democratic nomination at this point. So what do you see are either of their weaknesses, and how do you think that Republicans can win and actually elect a Republican senator to represent the state?
Patrice, it's helpful that they have a contested primary, and they're going to spend a lot of money. They're going to beat each other up. They're going to push each other to the left. And an adult in the room, a real adult in the room, a leader, not a politician on our side, can emerge to solve the problems that Marylanders really care about. And as I crisscross the state, I focus on the big four issues that people really do care about: the economy, education, public safety, and national and border security. And by bringing those arguments to the people of Maryland, that conservatives have the solutions that they've been thirsting for a long time, as opposed to the liberal that emerges from their primary, that's the way that we're going to win.
I think it's good to run as a conservative, sir, if you are one, Mr. Teichert, General Teichert, and it sure appears that you are. You'll be told, though, by a lot of consultants that a conservative will never win in Maryland, so you better not be too conservative, and especially considering we're in a presidential election cycle. They're going to throw a MAGA hat on you, and they're basically not going to run against you, sir. They're going to run against Donald Trump. How are you planning on dealing with that? You can either embrace Donald Trump and say, listen, guys, say what you will, but he was a lot better than what we got right now. Or you can do what I'm guessing the consultants suggest you do, which is to run away from Donald Trump. What are you going to do?
Larry, I'm running towards conservative solutions, conservative principles and values. As I talk to people in inner city Baltimore or in Prince George's County or Somerset County or Garrett County, that I'm talking about those four big issues that they care about and how they have been struggling because of liberal policies, and that conservatives have the answer to those problems. And I'm talking about that a lot to the people of Maryland.
And what about Donald Trump as the nominee, sir?
Yeah, so the primary process, Larry, still needs to play out. But I think that conservatives need to stand tall and need to stand proud that we do indeed have the values and the principles and the solutions to solve these problems with the economy, with education, with public safety and national border security. These last 3 years have been an embarrassment. Frankly, the last several decades in Maryland have harmed Marylanders significantly, and we're trying to emerge as the solution candidate that provides leadership, not politics, to Marylanders.
John Teichert, it's spelled Teichert. And General, can you give the website real fast if people want to learn more about your campaign or maybe support it?
Absolutely. I appreciate that. Teichert for Maryland, all one word.com, TeichertForMaryland.com. We're going to win because we're bringing solutions to people in Maryland.
All right. Thank you, sir. And as Patrice noted, the primary is in May, so I suspect we might be hearing from you between now and then once or twice again. So we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks for having me, and bring me back anytime, please.
Thanks, General. One of the most Larry David moments ever happened yesterday on live television. It was during this program. Apparently, NBC has their own morning news talk show like we have. Yeah,
it's not as good as ours.
Oh, God knows. Yeah, I wasn't even aware of it. But they have one. It's called Today or something like that. Anyway, Elmo was on the program.
Really?
See, this is why we do a lot better than NBC's TV morning show, because we don't waste your time with Elmo.
Generals.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
We have generals.
Actually talk about news of the day that matters to you.
They have Elmo.
And his dad.
So Elmo's, I didn't even know that Elmo's dad was part of the storyline here. I'll be honest. I have stopped watching Elmo since I had a toddler. All right. I watched Elmo when I had to.
I got Elmo all over the house.
But I bet you do. All right. So maybe you can shepherd me through this. That's Elmo's dad. Mm-hmm. And the two of them are on the Today Show talking about what, trans issues? What? I don't know.
Elmo's dad, Louie.
Okay.
Who is a multi-talented goateed dad. He wears, he looks kind of like a 90s dad.
He looks like a parrot head. He looks like he goes to Jimmy Buffett concerts.
Yeah, he's got the little muff goatee at the bottom there. Okay.
So they're on the little sofa. You know, they have a very expansive set over there, apparently. Yeah. They got the sofa set over there, and that's where, because spoiler alert, Elmo's a puppet.
He is.
Yeah, and for him to appear on the show, he can't sit on a stool because he's got a dude's hand up his butt making his mouth work, okay?
The kids would be very confused. We'll put it that way.
I'm just saying. So I don't think even kids know that he's a puppet, okay? There's no mystery here. So the dude who operates Elmo's puppetry is hiding behind the sofa and almost sitting on the sofa, right?
Yeah.
All right, and on the set, you've got then Al Roker stands in front of his big green screen doing the weather. And then further over, they got another set. That's where the stools are. That's where real live human beings sit and have an interview. Larry David is on set. Okay. He's over there on the stools waiting for his segment to go. Yeah. And he just decides to get up, walk across the set in the middle of the segment, grab Elmo by the face, vigorously shake him, and then punch him. It was beautiful.
Oh my!
Who doesn't want to do this?
Traumatizing. How many little kids happen to be watching the news, eating their breakfast, and they see?
It's why I love Larry David.
They see him assault.
It's brilliant. Here, listen to how it happened.
Go over to Al for a check of the weather. And
not yet.
Wait. Oh my gosh! You love Elmo, don't you? Elmo, you okay?
Mr. Lloyd, Elmo liked you before.
Ask permission before you touch people, Larry.
Let's talk about how you're feeling.
They would have canceled the show, Elmo, if it weren't last season.
All right, Larry, you've gone too far this time.
Yes, Larry.
Somebody had to do it.
Is anybody really surprised?
He's gonna sue y'all for the teaser. I'm gonna sue him for assault.
Was that Elmo's dad?
That was Elmo's dad, Louie.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Let's show you what's happening weather-wise. You can see that coming. 60s out west.
All right.
I love that. And by the way,
that was hilarious.
Elmo was on to talk about his recent post on social media about emotional well-being. And apparently Larry David had just had enough.
He missed it. Oh, man.
I do love that he said somebody had to do it.
Why would Elmo's dad say, ask for permission before you touch people? I mean, so he should go up and say, Elmo, can I smack the lights out of you tonight?
Actually, Larry David's response should have been, I do ask people's permission, but it's a puppet. It's the most annoying puppet ever created.
Yeah, that was good. That was good made for TV movie. You've got for those who know, you've got Hoda, you've got Savannah Guthrie, and then it's Craig Melvin.
Yeah, Craig, our local guy, our own Craig Melvin.
That's
we like
right.
him. Yeah, he's a nice guy.
You could tell they were on the verge of. A couple of them were like, you thought that they were going to curse. They probably just remembered.
And you know why? Because nothing ever happens that's spontaneous on these shows. It's all fake. It's all phony. It's all scripted. And finally, something spontaneous happened. And finally, there's a great moment on this show. I had said, by the way, is there more here? Okay, there's more audio. Okay. Hang on. I had said that we would never have Elmo on the show, but I want to amend that. We would have Elmo on the show if I could guarantee that something like this happens. If I could guarantee, well, I wouldn't,
Smack him.
There were some things you did not want to talk about.
Yeah, that was the thing. You told our producer, let's talk about anything. There's just one thing we don't want to talk about. So let's start there. What do you think about Travis and Taylor?
So apparently Larry David, before the interview, they said, "Is there anything you don't want to talk about?" And he said, "Yeah, I don't. Please don't ask me about Taylor Swift."
And that's
you've really got a nerve. Yeah. You've really got a nerve.
You bring it out of us.
By the way,
we weren't going to.
I used the S word once before on this show some years ago. I'm prepared to use it again. In answer to that question, and I think it's I don't give.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't give a Swift.
A schnoodle. Okay. Blair, it's your final season,
I know,
friend.
Final season.
Yeah, now we go, and he's just there to plug his season to Curb the Enthusiasm.
He plugged it pretty well.
He did. We're talking about it, aren't we? Honestly, there's no one like Larry David.